Hello, I'm Andy Furco, Associate Vice President for Public Engagement at the University of Minnesota, where I'm also an Associate Professor in the College of Education and Human Development. I oversee the Office for Public Engagement, which serves as a university-wide unit to advance all forms of public engagement across our research, teaching, and public service missions. As a unit within the Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost's Office, we work with academic and administrative leaders across the university to ensure that they have the capacity, the knowledge, and the understanding of public engagement to ensure that they can provide support for community-engaged scholarship. In this video, I will be talking about the role that leadership plays in advancing community-engaged scholarship. Our approach here at the University of Minnesota to build this leadership and support for community-engaged work has been intentional. In our 10-point plan for public engagement, we articulate the importance of cultivating and supporting campus leaders in order that they can be successful in supporting community-engaged work across the university. For our approach, we rely on the literature and we draw from knowledge and understanding of what it takes to provide this support. One of the important aspects is to build a cultural ethos that supports a broad-based public engagement agenda, to not just see public and community engagement as a set of projects or a set of outreach initiatives, but rather a strategy for accomplishing important institutional goals and priorities that advance our research and our teaching. There are 3 clusters of leadership that need to be considered as each cluster plays a different role in advancing community-engaged scholarship. The first cluster of leadership is, of course, academic leadership. This cluster is composed of the provost, vice provost, deans and department chairs, academic leaders whose influence and voice play essential roles in ensuring that community-engaged scholarship is ultimately valued and legitimized. At the University of Minnesota, we realize the power and influence that these academic leaders hold, and we have put in place several mechanisms to engage academic administrators in lending their voice to the advancement of public engagement and community-engaged scholarship. To give an example, the provost recently held a forum with tenured community-engaged faculty to bring their voices to the table, to hear their concerns about how to best advance community-engaged practices at the university. Their feedback has been transformed into a series of faculty development workshops on public engagement, including sessions on developing portfolios for promotion and tenure, strategies for building strong community partnerships, and a host of other issues. As the Chief Academic Officer, the Provost's presence and active involvement in key discussions and events continues to play an important role in raising the visibility of and academic legitimacy of community-engaged work. Academic and administrative leadership for community-engaged scholarship is also provided by the Vice Provost, as well as the college deans and associate deans. All 4 of our university vice provosts serve on the university's Public Engagement Council, which is the university's consultative body for public engagement issues. Through the involvement of the Vice Provost, we have been able to establish the Faculty Community Engaged Scholar Award, the highest award given to faculty for scholarship produced through community engagement, and also a grant proposal focused on establishing a university-wide fellowship program for graduate students interested in community-engaged scholarship. College deans also play a very important role in supporting community-engaged scholarship. We purposely reserved 2 seats on the Public Engagement Council to ensure that the voices of these academic administrators are heard. We also have learned that the inclusion of the associate deans are especially important and impactful in advancing community-engaged scholarship because they are charged with managing and implementing colleges' strategic priorities. They have on-the-ground knowledge to ascertain what is needed for community-engaged scholarship to thrive. As a result, I formed the Public Engagement Group for Associate Deans, which meets quarterly for these associate deans to engage in conversations about the public engagement work taking place in their colleges, and also to share with each other some of the struggles and challenges they are facing in advancing community-engaged work. Several years ago, we implemented an Engaged Department grant program whereby department teams formed action plans for advancing public engagement in their disciplines. Department teams were required to include the department chair, at least one tenure-track faculty member, and at least 2 other individuals on their teams. 22 academic programs have participated in the initiative, and the program has proved to be very successful with sustainable results. In reflecting on this program and today's topic of leadership, I believe that requiring the department chair to participate in the program and serve as the team lead encourage greater department-wide buy-in for the grant program and for community-engaged scholarship. I think that in some ways it put the department chair in a de facto role as a department leader for public engagement. And to some extent, this brought greater attention to importance and visibility of community-engaged scholarship within the department. So far, I've talked about the role of academic administrators in advancing community-engaged scholarship. However, I think that the work of the other 2 clusters of administrators also need to be considered. One cluster of administrators are the directors, managers, coordinators of units and centers that facilitate and implement community-engaged work. These are the directors of service learning centers, community-based research centers, research institutes, campus community partnerships, and the like. These are the professionals whose primary job is to secure high-quality community engagement across the university. Each summer, all of the directors, managers, coordinators of the university's 200+ engagement units are invited to a 2-day retreat to learn more about each other's work, attend professional development workshops focused on engagement leadership, and provide feedback to senior administrators about ways the university can better support their work. During the academic year, we convene these leaders each month to explore different issues that are important to their work. Through this forum, we continue to gather feedback from leaders on how to best support their work and their leadership. Also available to these leaders are professional development grants of up to $750 that individual leaders can use to build their own capacity for securing high-quality community-engaged work in their units. And in 2012, the university invited these unit leaders to participate in Virginia Tech's Executive Academy for Engagement Leaders for a nominal fee. We did this by bringing the Academy to the University of Minnesota, where over 50 of our engagement leaders were able to participate in the 3-day institute. The investment in this cluster of leaders is vitally important. At the end of the day, if these unit coordinators, managers, and directors are not thriving as unit leaders, then our public engagement and community scholarship work is in jeopardy. The other cluster of administration is composed of other administrative units and governing boards that through their policies, structures, and systems influence the extent to which community-engaged scholarship can thrive. For example, if the policies and systems of the administrative offices such as the Office for Research, Government Relations, Institutional Research, and other such units are not aligned with the goals of community-engaged scholarship, then it can be very difficult for community-engaged scholarship and other community-engaged work to advance, regardless of how much the academic administration supports and values it. Policies that might seem unrelated to community-engaged scholarship, such as policies concerning liability limitations, access to university buildings during evening hours, parking restrictions, university branding, intellectual property, can seriously impact the capacity of faculty and others to conduct community-engaged work. Proactively connecting to these offices and informing the unit leaders about public engagement and community-engaged scholarship are essential for ensuring that they consider the implications of their decisions on community-engaged work. Such connections are also important with Senate committees, Board of Regents, and promotion and tenure committees. Because the members of these groups and boards change often, it can be a challenging prospect to keep community-engaged issues on the radar. However, diligence is essential, as without the support of these administrative units, boards, and committees, community-engaged work cannot thrive. As Associate Vice President for Public Engagement, I see the maintenance of relationships with these committees and administrative units as one of the most important responsibilities I have. Overall, as we consider the critical issues of leadership and community-engaged scholarship, the implications are that leadership for advancing the engagement agenda does not just reside in the academic administration, but rather is distributed across the academy. Lack of support among leaders within any of the clusters mentioned lessens the institution's ability to build a culture that embraces community-engaged work. In this regard, to build and cultivate leadership for public engagement and community-engaged scholarship, we need a multi-pronged, a multifaceted approach, one that touches all levels and reaches out to all of the leadership across the university. I have found that most of the leaders are eager to become involved and support community-engaged work, especially once they understand what is truly meant by public engagement and community-engaged scholarship. Finding ways to empower these leaders, to support them, and to bring them together to promote collective action can be a powerful way to strengthen the overall leadership for our work. As I think about the future, there are a few questions that come to mind. How do we cultivate the next generation of leaders who understand and embrace community-engaged scholarship? What are the best ways to align the leadership issues across the administrative clusters in ways that help cross-fertilize the leadership found within each cluster? And given the substantial experience and length of time it takes to build leadership skills and capacity for engagement, what kinds of succession plans should we put in place to secure ongoing leadership in the various units within each of the clusters? As I shared in this video, securing the involvement and participation of leaders from across the institution is key to securing the advancement and institutionalization of public engagement and community-engaged scholarship in higher education. Reaching out not just to the academic administration, but to the various cluster of administrators and leaders can help secure the support that is needed for community-engaged scholarship to thrive. For more information about the University of Minnesota's public engagement work, please visit engagement.umn.edu. Thanks for watching.